Now back to Greta.
Now, we're wondering if the White House just has bad manners. On the Record has been following the story for months. Now, first, President Obama extends an invitation to go over health care line by line by line. Republican Congressman Phil Rowe immediately fires off a letter saying, "I accept." And then the White House simply ignores him, flat out ignores him. And guess what? It just happened again. We went to Capitol Hill and Congressman Rowe went on the record. Congressman, nice to see you, sir.
Great to be back here in Washington.
I bet it is indeed. We've been in your office before. We were here last fall because in late July, early August, the president said that he would go line by line through the health care reform bill with anyone who wanted it. You took him up on the offer. You wrote him a letter. Have you heard back?
We have not, and we've talked about this before. We've contacted his office on multiple times, really to sit down and go over this, the most important piece of social legislation in the last 50 years in this country.
They don't even respond. No good manners like, you know, hey, nice to hear from you, Congressman, but we're too busy and tough luck or anything.
We haven't heard anything at all, which makes you think, and as we talked about here before, about maybe there's a closed-door deal. And what really, I think people at home over the holidays, I spoke to hundreds, if not thousands of people, and they're really concerned about what's going on. They're afraid of this government and what it's going to do to them.
All right, in terms of the health care bill, you wrote just one letter or two letters? I'm trying to get sort of the whole universe of how many times you made a contact.
Actually 3 contacts, and we used email and snail mail, as we call it, and so we used multiple times, and phone calls.
Okay, fast forward now to December, and the president said that this was on December 10th, he's quoted as saying, "I'm absolutely committed to working with anybody who is willing to do the job to make sure we rebuild our economy." Did you know he wrote that or said that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do anything in response to that comment?
We did. We commented to that too. We wrote a letter also about some legislation that we want to bring forward to help. It's to help rural communities in hiring people. I tell you, Greta, people need to go out in this country and see what's going on. And small businesses are failing. Banks can't lend money. They tell you they are, but I met with bankers this past week, and they can't lend money because the regulators have got the boot on their neck. And they're afraid. I met with a franchisee owner this weekend, 18 Burger Kings that he has. And he's afraid. He said if this health care bill goes through, the 2 in my community will close.
All right. So with the economic bill, or the comment he made about the economy, did you send him a letter?
We did. We wrote a letter.
All right. Did you get a response back?
We have not.
When was that letter sent? Was it sent back in December or recently?
Back in December.
No response?
No response at all.
No phone call?
No phone call.
They didn't say, Congressman, this is the second time you've written us. We're too busy?
Nobody said a word. We haven't heard one thing.
All right. Are you willing to work with the president? Because he says that he's looking for anyone who is working with anybody who's willing to do the job to make sure we rebuild our economy. Is it a stunt, or are you willing to work with him?
No, this is not a stunt. I mean, I spent 30 years as a physician, as you well know. I've had a career in small business and in medical practice. I came here to work on these important issues and jobs. Greta, our people need work across the country. I've talked to people in Oklahoma, Ohio, North Carolina on town hall meetings, and the questions are exactly the same. Where are the jobs? All
right, we've got issues of the economy, we've got issues of the health, we've got the issues of bad manners, not even responding to your letters at all, or any staff even contact you. So what's up? Is this really not any give and take? Is this the Republicans are just sitting here and the Democrats are doing the whole thing?
I think there's no bipartisanship whatsoever. That was my biggest shock when I came here to D.C. 2 things surprised me. 1 was the spending, and 2 was the partisanship. And this is not, jobs are not a partisan issue. Health care is not a partisan issue. Greta, I've never seen a Democrat or Republican heart attack in my life. It's everybody's problem. And we need to sit down with both sides. And you would think on health care, with over 10 physicians in the Congress, that someone would have sat down with the doctors and said, what do you think about this legislation? Not one peep.
All right. You've made gestures to them, to the White House. Has the White House, separate and apart from the 2 letters and the follow-up that you made to them on health care and economy, has the White House reached out to you at all?
No.
Never?
Not at all. Never.
Not once?
Not one time. Well, we did go to the birthday party on the lawn.
That's it?
That all the congressmen went to. But that's
all?
That's it.
That's the only time?
That's the only time at all, Greta. We haven't had any contact at all. And I am very sincere. We want the president to succeed. It's important for all Americans for him to succeed. Our country's in trouble right now economically, and hopefully we're pulling out of it. But this health care bill, for instance, right now, that I've spent a lifetime, a career in health care, in the practice of medicine. And here we have a bill that adds new unfunded mandates. Let me give you an example of what's going on in Tennessee. We have 50 less highway patrolmen than we had in 1977. We have 2 million more people. And here's another, Nebraska doesn't get the bill, maybe Vermont, maybe Massachusetts, maybe Florida with the Medicare Advantage, but Tennesseans do, Ohioans do, other people do. Nebraskans are not going to get that. They're embarrassed about that also. I would be if I were Nebraska.
Governor Schwarzenegger said last weekend that if you tried to buy a vote in Sacramento, that it's a crime. And he was critical of Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid getting the vote, buying the vote for $300 million from Senator Ben Nelson. What's your thought?
Well, you know, we speak to Hamid Karzai in Afghanistan about clean up your corruption. Turn it around and let him look at it this way. And when the person looks this way and says, well, here, you can get my vote if you'll exempt my state and save all these hundreds of millions of dollars, but somebody has to pay that bill. And we can't even pay the unfunded mandated bills in health care in Tennessee right now. And if you add more, it'll bankrupt our state. What do? We have no capital projects for our colleges this year. Do we cut K through 12? Do we do away with our state highway patrol? What do these states do that are already broke?
Would you use the word corruption?
I don't know that it's corrupt, but it's certainly, I think it's immoral to do what they did.
Right. Will you let us know if you hear from the White House on your second attempt to reach them on the economy?
I can guarantee you'll be the first call I make.
All right, good. Thank you, Congressman. Nice to see you,
Thanks
sir.
for dropping by the office. Thanks.
Next, everyone's favorite, the best of the rest. Now, who had the audacity to invade Rush Limbaugh's studio in the